Of the yellow light, and we are under yellow at Indianapolis. This time an accident involving Roberto Guerrero and Jeff Andretti.
ABC Sports exclusive coverage of the Indianapolis 500, brought to you by cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. By the Heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, and your local Chevy dealer. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. And by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car.
We're back, still under yellow. Here's the lineup under this yellow flag. An accident involving Roberto Guerrero and Jeff Andretti. Both drivers climbed in and out of climbed out of their cars rather quickly. And there is now a report that there will be a stop-and-go penalty for Mario Andretti, who sits in third place, as his teammate and the leader of the race, Nigel Mansell, comes in for pit service. He was the leader of the group behind the pace car. This time, Nigel makes the marks with no problem whatsoever.
This is the first bit of bad luck for Mario, or bad calculation.
And some adjustment to the front wing as Tom Wirtz, his chief, keeps track of him and leads him finally back into the action. No hurry here because the course is under yellow. On that access road, you can see the separation between the track and the access road. Now here's the situation that created this accident. Guerrero tried to get down under Jeff, and it didn't work. The two of them ended up against the wall. And look at Nigel Mansell ducking by on the inside underneath. Here is Nigel Mansell's onboard camera of this same accident.
And this is the first time Nigel Mansell has seen a crash like this from the cockpit of his Indy car. In road racing, usually when guys have an accident, they have it all by themselves. Here they ricochet often back into your way. And of course there it wasn't too bad, and he threaded his way through pretty easily.
Nigel tiptoed so carefully between this accident and the grass to his left. And of course, you get off on that grass, it's pretty slick.
Well, also the rumble strips that lie between the track and the grass can really grab that left front wheel and almost wrench the steering wheel out of your hands. You got to treat it with great care.
Sam, you could even see the right rear in Guerrero's car. That's the one that's on the right, the red car. You could even see that one lean up against Andretti's car, and it got it bent a little bit. And so after they did get loose a little bit, he really didn't have any control left.
Roberto Guerrero's car owner is drag racer Kenny Bernstein. He's with Gary Gerald.
Kenny, have you had any radio contact? Can you tell us anything that came from Roberto as to what happened?
No, I can't right now. In fact, when he said something was wrong, and then he got out of the car, and we don't know what happened exactly.
When you limped out of here, it looked like you had clutch problems after that last pit stop as well.
Yeah, we had a clutch problem, but we were okay. We pushed it and got it started. We could have been okay there, but I don't really know what happened with the wreck, what took place.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Paul?
All right. Ari Leyendijk picks up the lead of the race with Nigel's pit stop. In second is Mario Andretti. Scott Goodyear now runs in third. Raul Boisel is fourth. Al Unser Jr. fifth. And Al Unser runs in sixth place. As we see the Andretti car being taken back in. Saturday, ABC Sports presents one of golf's premier events. Host Jack Nicklaus and the PGA's best salute this year's honoree Arnold Palmer at the Memorial Tournament, sponsored by Dean Witter. And then live coverage beginning at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 a.m. in Pacific. Then it's ABC's Wide World of Sports, following with the final jewel of the Chrysler Triple Crown Challenge, the Belmont Stakes. And that coverage is live. So with Ari Leyendijk, the pole sitter, back at the front of the field. 131 laps are now complete in the 77th Indy 500. Back at Indianapolis, we anticipate a stop-and-go penalty for Mario Andretti. The reason is this. Now watch the yellow lights right on the right-hand wall there. Mario was on the approach to the pits. He couldn't really commit over and go back onto the racetrack, but what they're supposed to do, if that yellow light comes on while he's rolling down the pit road, is go on through the pits and circle around again and wait for them to reopen. Mario Andretti back in the pits, in and out. This is not answering the stop-and-go penalty. This is a routine stop for him, and Ari Leyendijk is expected at the end of this yellow, as soon as they think they're very close to the end of it, that he will come into the pits and make a stop. But why would Mario come in at that point?
I don't know. I think his situation is not good with so many cars on the lead lap. When it goes green, if Mario is assessed to stop and go, that's about 45 seconds. And I think Jack has a much better update on that.
Paul, there's no question in my mind that what he's trying to do is actually plead his case and say, look, I'll take the stop and go to the back of the line now rather than have to endure a stop and go under green flag conditions. Remember what Tom Binford has always said. The infraction and the penalty should fit the severity of the infraction. Considering the circumstances, you'll have to check with USAC, but I would think he may be trying to plead his case right now by making that stop and go now.
Yeah, and Jack, it doesn't seem like it was really a very great infraction. And yet the penalty, if he is forced to do a stop and go under the green, is going to drop him back to 10th. We only have less than 70 laps to go here, 67 laps to go. Even though he was the fastest and commanding vehicle on the track, it probably would take him out of contention for the win.
And that has always been the philosophy of the United States Auto Club. Make sure that the severity of the penalty fits the severity of the infraction.
Well, Tom Binford, the chief steward who celebrates his 20th year here, in fact writes in a book, My Checkered Past, that was just published, that that's one of his greatest concerns. He doesn't want to assess a penalty that then, if he finds out he's wrong, cannot be replaced. So they'll look at this one very carefully and decide what to do with and about Mario Andretti. Ari Luyendyk on the pit road, as Jack suggested, coming in, going to top off. They should be close to the end of a cleanup, but there is still a great deal of oil dry out on the racetrack from the Andretti car. And let's go to Jack Arute.
Well, this is what we call pit tactics and strategies. They've changed the wing. They made a major adjustment on the wing, going down on the wingtips. They have taken on fuel. Their thinking is now they can extend their fuel window. This becomes so very important with the ever-changing track conditions and the fact that track position has become so crucial here in the late stages of the race.
You get a glimpse there of Scott Goodyear as he came in and out as well with Ari Luyendyk, and Ari went into the pits as the leader with Scott Goodyear in second place. Both of them now come up to join the field.
The assessment,
and that's the blend line. They have to fall into the position of the car that they paced from over in turn one.
The severity of this penalty may very well determine the outcome of this race. I know Binford is a terrifically fair man.
So we continue under yellow at the Indianapolis 500. We'll be right back.
Dramatic decades of ABC sports at the Indy 500 can be yours. The spectacular starts, the close-up pit stop action, the fantastic finishes, and much more. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. ABC's home video, Live and Drive, the Indy 500 is only $19.98 plus $3.95 shipping. Racing fans, order now. 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
Back live at Indianapolis. The yellow is still out. Let's go to the emergency medical center. Terry Punch is with Dr. Henry Bach.
And Henry just walked out. Henry, what's the status on the two drivers?
Jeff Andretti and Roberto Guerrero are both in here. They're both in good condition, awake and alert. Guerrero has a little bruise on his right knee and a bruise to his left shoulder, but other than that, in good condition. They'll be released from here in just a few minutes.
And Paul, certainly a tribute to the change and altered safety construction of these cars for 1993.
Much better results for Jeff, especially, than last year. Remember that last year Mario was forced to drive past his son's accident then, too. Allenser Jr. will sit at the head of the field, followed by Mario Andretti and then his father, former winners in the top three positions. But this is a very important time of the race as they pass through the midpoint and begin to look toward the last 100 miles. We asked Little Al, where does the frustration come into play during the course of a 500-miler?
Frustration that I've ever faced in the Indy 500 is not being able to get my car working for me after about 5 or 6 pit stops. The race is 3/4 over with, and I'm still loose. It wears on you. So, if you can, for myself, if I can keep up with the racetrack and keep in tune with it, then there is no frustration.
What he's really talking about is driving here, you have the best of times and the worst of times, depending on the knife edge setting. And when you think also about the Andrettis, As you said, Paul, Mario having to drive by the wreck of his son as he did last year, and at the same time try to defend off a penalty that would probably cost him the race. I mean, at the one point, there's Shelley Unser. You see Al Jr.'s wife in the pits. But I mean, these scenes, they really come to a head.
Al Unser Jr., the leader of the race. We should be going green shortly. Kevin Cogan is now 15th after leading earlier. Jimmy Vasser, a quiet but strong run, has him in 13th. And Willie T. Ribbs now runs in 25th position. The pace picks up. The Camaro pace car down onto the pit lane. And we're green again in Indianapolis. Al Unser Jr. answers the green with a move to the inside. Mario Andretti chases him down into the corner. Gets cut low. Mario loses some momentum there.
The brightly colored car is Eddie Cheever. He's been lapped. Keep your eyes on Al Unser Jr.
Eddie Cheever runs 18th. Certainly not a factor in this race at the moment.
And as they come off of turn 2, I can just watch them kind of trying to get to the left ball to get that clean air so their front wings don't give way.
Al Unser Jr., the 11th different leader of the race, a new record at the Indy 500.
Paul, this race has taken a while to really develop, but it has developed now. It's a very exciting battle between the two great families of auto racing, the Unsers and the Andrettis, the Capulets and Montagues, you might say, of this sport. With, I still say, Nigel Mansell can't be counted out. He's fast and he's making up lost time.
If they're concerned about rain, it doesn't seem to be a concern at all now. Nigel Mansell, you watch over his shoulder. Skies, in fact, brightened just a few moments ago. Again, we give you the rundown. This time after 137 laps. Listen in the corner, just how much Nigel and everyone else have to come out of the throttle.
Surprising thing right now is the number 51, Eddie Cheever, who's definitely way down in the race, but he's actually pulling away from a little while. He's in clean air and going like heck.
The Valvoline speed chart there. Mansell's last lap down at 196 miles an hour, running in traffic. Fittipaldi moved around the car ahead. Mansell is still in pursuit of Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi is 5th right now. Mansell 6th.
You know, like Mansell, I had a road racing background when I first came to Indianapolis. Of course, a much lesser caliber, but never mind. I found as I drove through my first Indy here that I really enjoyed it, and I suspect Nigel is finding the same thing. There's a rhythm to driving the track. The turns, people say, how don't you get bored? The turns are the same, just 4 turns over and over again. They change each lap because of the wind condition and the groove, as Bobby's been describing, and it's really fun to meet that challenge. I think Nigel's having a great day out there.
Al Unser Jr. still chased by Mario Andretti, the lead of the race, back with Nigel Mansell chasing Fittipaldi. Ford telemetry from Mansell's car.
Bobby, look at how little Nigel is moving that steering wheel. I think he's got a near perfect setup right now, and he's got the nerve to ride a high line off those turns. He's coming to you.
He's an extremely smooth driver. Of course, as he goes through here, he looks just as smooth as we see him on television, Tim.
Well, he carried speed in turn 1 all the way into the corner before he jumped back out of the throttle.
I think you could compare Nigel Mansell with Little Al. Both of them are, without doubt, the two smoothest drivers we've had on the track today.